Welcome to the Eclectic Gamers Podcast. Today's Sunday, June 11th. This is episode 195.
So what's going on, Tony? Anything?
Just been playing some games. Nothing new. Same games I had been playing. Reading books. Nothing fancy. Work's got I'm in the opening stages of a project that we've been planning for a little over a year now. So it is... We are experimentally we've always run about 50% capacity, and we are experimentally coming up to 100% capacity for the first time ever because of large amounts of construction in our basin is going to require us in the next few years to go to full capacity. So we are doing it now as a test run to make sure all the equipment, everything's good to go, so that when the actual flows get to that point, we are actually able to handle it.
Okay. Well, drilling is very important.
Yes.
We love our drills.
Yes. I'm not drilling anything. I'm just treating water.
Yes, but it's a practice run, right? So it's a drill.
It's the practice run as in we're doing it when we have enough capacity that we can take it back offline to make adjustments.
Okay.
If everything works, everything will just stay online forever.
Oh, okay. So if you can get it to go, you'll just keep it going.
Right.
All right. Oh, that's good. That's interesting.
It's one of those things that it was always designed to work this way, but it's never been tested.
Right.
And it's been in service for 10 years. So
it's time to test it.
Yes. It's going to be exciting.
Let it be ready. And hopefully it'll all go smooth.
Hopefully.
Yes. Well, that's exciting. I don't have anything nearly that exciting. Been busy work-wise. I have a conference at the end of June every year that we host, and that's our we call it the mid-year meeting. It's actually, even though we have an annual meeting, the mid-year is actually the big meeting because we put it together by ourselves. We piggyback our annual meeting with another organization, so I don't have to plan very much. It's basically a board meeting where there are membership votes, whereas the mid-year meeting is a whole educational thing with votes from the members and a board meeting. And, I have to host it and arrange all the food and all that. We have about 100 people registered for it. So we closed that out. I closed that out on Friday, got all the rest of the billing taken care of, and let the hotel know how many to expect. And I have everything else planned. So hopefully it goes pretty smooth. It went pretty smooth last year. Last year was the first year we offered continuing education. I have a lot of nurses who are administrators, and mostly administrators of health departments attend these things. So those nurses, we started as of last year offering continuing education. So a lot of the stuff I have to prearrange well before when I close registration so that I can actually tell them, here's exactly how much nursing credit you'll get. Now, when we're done with the event, I'll be the one having to issue all of their certificates because we're a two-person organization, and that's how it works. And I've got about 50 that want nursing credit, which is about the same as last year, I think, wanted. My numbers are very, very similar to last year, which is good. Back when I started, this sort of event pulled about 50 people. So I basically doubled it.
Nice.
But that's because we have funds that are helping pay for the registrations,
right,
which always helps. Speaking of help, people can help us out by supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/Eclectic Gamers Podcast. Don't have any new Patreons to announce, so nothing there. I have done a few recent posts to it. Of course, we had our baby's first image I shared for June. And then I also, this is kind of a pinball topic, but I'm going to go ahead and mention it here in the intro. Someone messaged me, and they sent me a little image of Flippy. Flappy's what I'm going to talk about. Flippy. All right, so Flippy is the mascot of Chicago Pinball Expo. It's a anthropomorphic flipper with arms and legs and a face with a grin, like a creepy grin though, like a Rudy's Nightmare grin. And the person messaged it to me and messaged me the link to the U.S. trademark office and said, don't you, like basically in a nutshell said, don't you dare steal Flippy. He's trademarked. And I guess I'm not surprised, except is Flippy really like I get it. People trademark things no matter what, really, whether people would take them or not. But I just, is Flippy going to be a thing, Tony? Do you think Flippy's going to be a thing?
I think it's smart to trademark stuff that you're going to use like that, if only to preemptively prevent people from trademarking it and using it against you.
Well, I made my own version, and his name is Flappy. And instead of being a red band, he's got a blue band. And instead of having a smile, he's got a frown. And he's free for use. So anyway, I shared him to the Patreon. He's for the Patreon members. So there you go. There's Flappy. If Southern Fried needs Flappy, they can use him. He's public domain.
You know what you really needed to do is you needed to make an anthropomorphic bumper and just play it up with like the whole the old Fat Albert stuff. Hey, pinball guys!
Oh. Did you ever see those cartoons?
Yes, I did.
Okay, yeah, I liked Fat Albert. It's fun. Now, speaking of remaining normal introduction stuff, video games. So I actually went back to playing some Gems of War. I used to play that all the time.
Been a while.
It is, and they've expanded so much stuff. They want so many dollars.
Did you give them all of your dollars?
No, I haven't given them any dollars. But I went ahead and I got a few achievements. Went back because just playing some of the new content that they were like, here, you get an achievement for doing this stuff. So doing that, relays and all my team builds in it are awful. Like my favorite team build already before I left had already been nerfed by the company because it was so powerful. And so I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't beat anything. I finally, one of my other older teams, which is also pretty good, but had the nerfs weren't as bad. It's somewhat viable. And then
don't worry about the meta. Just play.
I want a meta. I went and looked online and also paid attention to who was like going into PvP, like which teams were destroying me. And I'm looking at them if I can get a chance in. Like one of them, I went in, loaded, did my intro move, and then they took 18 turns and destroyed me. Like I didn't get a turn again. It was like total blue deck Magic the Gathering nonsense. That was just awful. And because they constantly were getting gym matches. If you in the way Gems of War is a gym, it's like Bejeweled. It's a matching game.
It's a match 3 game.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a match 3. But if you match 4 or more, you get to have another turn. So that's all they did. Is they had things that would turn all the gems the same color, and that would fill up another one of them, who would then do the same thing with a different color. And it was just, and while they're doing it, they're doing damage. And I'm just like, why do I not get to play? This is not fun. This is like playing against Sombra in Overwatch. This is not fun. And so anyway, I also a couple days ago, I'd kind of forgotten about this, and then I was communicating with Don, former host of the Pinball podcast, and he'd asked me if I had started Puzzle Quest 3. And I remembered there was Puzzle Quest 3, but then I'd forgotten it had come out. And I was like, I don't remember how much that is. Because I played the first Puzzle Quest. It's the same company.
Right.
And I really liked Puzzle Quest. And it's a free game. So I downloaded it. It wants money too. But I got through chapter 1 yesterday. So I didn't put much time. I didn't put much time in when I downloaded it, but I put a lot in yesterday. So that one's different because now it's still match 3, but you can move the gems diagonal. So my brain doesn't want to. My brain's like, this is not normal. This is wrong. And I'm playing a berserker minotaur.
That's my role.
I know, but it's mine now. I've taken it. And she's a minotaur and she's big and she's just like, sup.
Soap.
Because that's what minotaurs say. So anyway, so that's my intro. So speaking of minotaurs, we don't have any to talk about in pinball, but we do have a new pinball game we're going to discuss. However, I think the first thing we need to start with is Stern Pinball because we had a rumor corner 2 weeks ago about the Godzilla topper, and that's now come out. And once again, rumor corner, arguably never wrong, has been right once more. It wasn't just flat plastics. It almost was all flat plastics. So, topper came out. Have you seen You've seen the topper?
I've definitely seen that.
So, for those that don't,
object.
Let me paint you a word picture. Though if you're interested, you just go online and look because pictures are worth 1,000 words. I ain't going to paint with that many colors. So, anyway, it has a Godzilla figure which is basically identical to the Godzilla figure everyone hates. That's in the premium.
Right.
Like it's the same size. I don't know if it's completely identical or not, but he's up on there. So he's a sculpt. Then there's this plume, his atomic breath plume, which has 21 color changing RGBs in it.
The we get it, you vape bro plume.
Yes. And then there are flat plastic tanks. There's a flat plastic cityscape in the back, and the cities have lighting effects in them that make them look like they're burning. And it comes with a game mode, and it's $1,000. Reaction has been mixed to this topper, Tony, and that maybe doesn't surprise you.
No.
A lot of people were very disappointed that this was the direction it went. A lot of people said that the lighting effects look way better than maybe what they expected. I would argue they look way better than what Stern presented, because Stern basically didn't show us the light show except for the flaming build. Like the plume just looked like a vape cloud.
Yeah.
There were lots of jokes about that. Zach Minnie with Flippin' Out Pinball put out his own video where he installed the topper and let you actually see like the vape cloud, and that it's not just like rotating through the, I'm going to call it JJP style, the full rainbow of colors, but rather trying to make it look like, the blue breath beam or flame beam sort of stuff. So that, the integration, a lot of people
helps a little bit.
A lot of people have praised the integration. And there's been a big debate about that. OEM toppers, manufacturer-made toppers are superior than third-party toppers, really regardless of how they look, because of these things like what Stern has done or CGC or anyone else, where there's this that plugs in and it's integrated into the code in some way. So
People praise the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
They love downloadable content.
Yeah, and I guess
you got to pay an extra $1,000 for.
Yeah, and again, it's an exclusive mode, but. I'm hedging on that because my understanding is that's how Jurassic Park's mode, they had the like goat Jackpot mode as an exclusive mode. And then eventually it came out available, I believe, for Insider Connected to have anyway. So will that eventually happen with this? We don't know. But once.
So you either have to have buy $1,000 topper or be one of the insiders to get access.
Well, just for having the Insider Connected kit installed.
Oh, for having the kit.
Right,
okay.
right. You don't have to be the paid member. I think it's just a part of having Insider Connected. And Godzilla was the first game that they all came with Insider Connected. So everyone has that. So I don't know. My point is just that if you call something exclusive and then it's no longer exclusive once, why would I ever trust you to keep something? Not that I think it should stay exclusive. I don't know if people want to pay $1,000 for the way it is. I think in this instance, all it is the ability to do like one of the wizard modes as a standalone game mode. I don't think it's like a hidden, special, like progressive jackpot thing. I don't think.
I'm not a fan of the sculpt. The Godzilla sculpt, I think, is.
But there's a light that throws its shadow on one of the walls.
Oh, that's so dumb.
It throws the shadow Godzilla.
That means that only works if you've got your Zilla in a corner.
Don't you?
Nobody puts Godzilla in a corner.
Oh.
Nobody puts Godzilla in a corner.
Okay. Well, anyway, the topper's out. I won't be buying it. I don't even know if it would fit under my ceiling though, so I always have an excuse to not buy these things.
Right. Like you also have the excuse that it's $1,000.
Yeah, but what's $1,000 to a pinball collector, Tony?
I know that's true, but
I mean, what's a mere $1,000? I don't even know if there are any available anymore. Initially, some dealers were sold out and some weren't. I don't know if they've all sold out yet or not, because a lot of people, again, it's $1,000, and I think a lot of people were really hoping for something with mechanical movement, like Mothra flapping her wings, or the one I most commonly heard was a King Ghidorah sculpt with one or more of the heads moving, like Black Knight's head. That's what I wanted.
That would have been acceptable.
Was something like that.
It would have been better than what we got.
Well,
I would have been happier with a more quality Godzilla sculpt.
Well, you can replace it because he's just zip tied to it.
Yeah, and you would want to. I mean,
what do you think about
Monster Works?
What do you think about the theory?
Plenty of good sculpts.
What do you think about the theory that's been floated that Stern deliberately zip ties the Godzilla there to make it easier for you to mod your $1,000 mod?
I think that would make a lot of sense for Stern to do.
Okay.
We just zip tied it down because people are just going to replace it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that was, some people have floated that, kind of like how
I don't know that that's a good thing.
I don't know, but
I could see that being an argument made.
They've used that argument with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles topper. There was a lot of people complained when that topper came out because it was like a flat plastic that said Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the topper, and then just below it says the same way, Teenage Mutant Turtles, like on the translite. But they just had like two visible screws right there, so you could easily just remove the TMNT branding off the topper. So
right.
people are like, well, they must have done that on purpose because they knew it looked stupid. And the license probably told them it has to say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on it. So they made a detachable sign so you could detach it so you didn't hate yourself. I don't know. But that's the sort of the theory.
It's a pinball theory.
Okay.
Don't sue us.
Well, if you're not into Godzilla, Topper, what do you think about a new pinball manufacturer?
Woohoo! Yet another one. This
right.
is what, like 7 this year?
I don't know. I mean, it's the 7th new game. But in terms of a new manufacturer, I mean, so Pinball Adventures has formally unveiled their Punny Factory finally. So that's their first game. So that's out. And now here's HEXA Pinball. I'm not quite sure why they call themselves HEXA Pinball. I think maybe they use some hex symbols on some of the stuff, but they looked like squares to me, which is not very hexy. But HEXA Pinball, French manufacturer.
Maybe it means something special in French.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know French. So I have a link. I have 2 links in the show notes. I have a link to a Nap Arcade article, which has all the details about the game. If you want to look at some up-close pictures, that's a great place to go.
It's very pink.
It is. And we can discuss that. And then I also have a link in the show notes to Hexa Pinball's YouTube trailer for Space Hunt, their first game, which I do recommend. You don't really need to watch the video. I just want you to listen to the video so you can experience Space Hunt.
It's such a banger.
I had to emphasize that H just to make
just hunt. It's such a banger.
Is it the best song of the year, or would you prefer the Godfather theme by Slash?
Oh no, this is better than the Godfather theme than by this is better than the Slash Godfather theme.
Okay.
I mean, this is no Peaches.
Peaches.
This is,
okay.
but
That's
it
true.
is. It is.
They didn't hire Jack Black clearly,
right?
To write
obviously.
Space Hunt, even though it has about the same number of words as Peaches did in it, almost. So just real quick, the price on this game, I think, basically is going to rule it out for most people, given that it's an original theme from a startup company, but $9,500 is. That's basically their euro price converted. So I don't know exactly what it will be US. I'm noting that because I believe their euro price included VAT, which value-added tax would, I believe, normally be removed for an American making a purchase. But there's also going to be shipping charges to get it to stateside. So I think around $9,500 is probably realistic.
Probably good.
So as Tony noted, the game is extremely pink. It does have an upper right play field with a single flipper. That has some sort of dangling. It reminds me of a tilt bob. It's got like this dangling tilt bob-esque thing with a hole in it where you can loop around the hole, or I guess get the ball into that hole, or it will drain back out onto a habit trail. But no one knows if that dangly thing is wired to anything to read. I can't fathom why they would have it and not have it. Like, why have it at all and not just have a big old Sarlacc pit sort of hole there. But anyway, so that's there. They've got 3 different ramp entrances, one of which feeds that upper play field, one of which the other 2 actually feed 2 different habit trails. I think there's a 4th ramp entrance, which is a 360 ramp. It's the second most to the right. Originally, I thought that might have been a vertical up kicker, but that's actually a 180. Oh, not 360. That would make no sense. That would just go in a loop. 180 ramp, and very, very pink. My initial impression looking at the art, because there's like some Cthulhu-esque alien stuff in the art and such, was maybe they were going for that cyberpunky 80s total nuclear annihilation pink, but it, to me, looks like Pepto-Bismol was spilled on the playfield and sort of stained the base whitewood, and that's just what we had to work with. But that's my take. What are your thoughts on Space Hunt, Tony?
I don't know. It looks weird. I watched the trailer. The trailer didn't really give away much, but I don't know. I think I would like to see it actually played, or actually play it myself. The big thing is, like you said, the little dangler and the hole interests me. I want to know exactly what that is set up and how that works. Otherwise, it looks very pink and like any other pinball machine.
The geometry doesn't look bad, other than the confusion about that upper playfield, which I'll go ahead and say I don't like this upper playfield, even without knowing what that does. Like the simple looping of the shot reminds me too much of, do you remember, it wasn't an upper playfield, but you remember Rob Zombie, and there was that like bucket of chicken little upper section that was super easy to, I don't know if this is going to be that easy, but it was not a fun area on that game, and this reminds me of it.
Well, I think the ramp to get up to it's going to be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think most of the rest of this layout would almost, actually, if we remove that upper playfield, this would be a fan layout. Everything's in the back. Lots of shots that may be well laid out. It doesn't look like it plays bad. I'm curious about it. But at the price point they've established, I think I would say it's clearly not designed for American audiences.
Is there even one pop bumper on it? I don't see one.
Yeah, there are two. You just can't make them out because they blend in with the back of the playfield.
Oh, I see them. They're the purple.
Yeah.
With the little heads.
It's the same. Their caps match.
Caps match the
back
playfield
of the
perfectly.
Playfield at the top, yep. So that's why they blend in from this angle.
Very nice. I thought they were just, because they look as those same kind of symbols are in a couple of places. So.
Yes. Little squiddy Cthulhu alien things. But anyway, congratulations, though, to HEXA Pinball for releasing a game. And, I don't know. Given it's a European manufacturer, I'm going to assume they're going to be targeting their domestic market, the European market, for sales. And
should make sense.
And maybe it's relatively price competitive there versus, I don't know how much it costs to get a Stern overseas and what you have to pay to get a Stern Pro, for example. It's not price competitive for the U.S. market, but I just don't think it's made for us because it's so out of, like, you look at something like Punny Factory's pricing, which is more than a Stern Pro, but it's not obscenely more.
Right.
But they're also in North America, so it's not the same difficulty to get it over to us if one were to try and get it.
Not everything's made for America.
I know. It's just, that's a good point. The problem for these manufacturers is, like it or not, we are where most pinball sales can be had because we may not have the highest per capita culture of pinball. I would argue, and I may be wrong on this, but I get this feeling. It's just a gut feeling. Australia might per capita actually have more pinball people. I'm not sure. But population-wise, it's such a smaller country,
right,
that your maximum sales that can be had there are not great. And Europe used to be a huge, huge playground for pinball. And I don't know what's going on with Europe anymore, but it just doesn't feel like they buy like they used to. And some of this is my analysis of like seeing our download figures and setting VPNs and stuff aside. Europe is not like a huge listening audience for us compared to Canada and Australia. So now part of that is in some of those countries, they might not be most comfortable listening to a podcast in English, but many European countries do have a lot of people who speak English. So I don't know. And that may be a bad example because we also talk about video games and we're also deeply unpopular. So we have to factor in those things.
I mean, those are very valid points.
Things. Well, that's all the pinball news that we have. So the other thing to do, Tony, is go over our rumor corner.
Got the news before Nap Arcade. Is that right, Tony? Yeah.
Okay. This rumor corner is about the upcoming Harry Potter pinball. We got to talk a little bit about Harry Potter, right? It's been decanted. It was allowed to breathe. I think that's what decanting does. I don't know. I don't really know things about liquor. So, but that's what we're going to use for this analogy. So we've decanted the Harry Potter, and it's breathed. And now we need to breathe life into this with Rumor Corner, Tony. It's not funny. It's Rumor Corner. This is super serious.
Super serious. Super serious.
So one of the things that has come up is the speculation on who is going to design this game. And the consensus in the community, by large, is definitely Eric Minier, followed by some people theorizing maybe Steve Ritchie, that maybe it would be given to Ritchie. The rumor corner is no, it's Mark Seiden.
Which is, you brought up last time.
Yes, and some might say, Dennis, you're just doing this because you control the rumor corner and you want Mark Seiden to be
I
the
was
designer.
not going to say that.
I said some. Some might say that. And you know what? Maybe they're right, but they don't get to know how rumor corner is made, so we don't know. But let me tell you,
it's all in the implication.
Now imagine me with a whiteboard doing the guy in the meme, the crazy. Let me show you how it's all connected, Tony. All right, this is connected. This is my evidence. This is again, it's rumor corner, so it's just a rumor. It may not be true. Maybe best to not think it's true, but this is what the evidence shows me. Okay. Point 1. Mark hasn't had a game come out yet. He's got to put something out at some point, right? Why not Harry Potter? 2, he was known for doing the Metroid pinball homebrew.
Mm-hmm.
That's what proved him. That was what showed he had design chops. So on Pinside, in the thread for the Pinball Network, where they list all the podcasts that they put out, he posted a message because this sort of topic with him and Harry Potter and all that came up at one stage. And there was a part where I think I kind of snarked to Zach that Mark doesn't listen to this show, so and that he needs to quit being mean to Mark or whatever. And so he came in and he said, "No, I listen. How else would I know the industry news?" So my point is, though, I mentioned something about that there should be Metroid Easter eggs in his Harry Potter game, and one of the things he posted though in the thread is a picture of a sauce bottle. I wasn't familiar with the sauce. It kind of looked like an A1 sauce bottle for Americans, if you're familiar with A1 steak sauce. But it had a picture of Ridley, that dinosaur pterodactyl-looking nemesis in Metroid games. Mm-hmm. Showed him flying around Big Ben. That's what the sauce bottle had. Like, it had Ridley on it and Big Ben on it on a sauce bottle. So here's the thing, Tony. Think about it. What takes place? Big Ben is in the UK. What else takes place in the UK?
Sherlock Holmes.
Yes. And what else that isn't an AP license but is a JJP license takes place in the UK? You're a wizard, Harry. That's right. It's Harry Potter. Harry Potter, Tony. And what would be, get this, what would be really saucy? Mark being the designer. It's all connected. It's all connected.
That's definitely...
That would be that would be a saucy play.
There are some lines
because everyone's going to be like, it's got to be Eric, right? Eric's in charge now. Eric's going to give himself the best license, and then others are like, well, maybe Steve Ritchie. He's such a veteran. You want it to flow. I
figure Ritchie's already working on something.
You want the Quidditch ball to flow for days. I'm like, no. What's the saucy play? What would Ridley want? He'd want Mark to do it. So that's your rumor corner. Are you rumor-tained?
That works.
Good. All right. Video games.
There's nothing.
Oh, phew. Good, because I watched this the whole Summer Gamefest thing, and I was just like, this stuff is dumb.
Yeah, it's all dumb.
Okay.
No, but really, a couple interesting things, some of which are probably no surprise, have popped out in the last 2 weeks. Super Mario Brothers movie made $1 billion, so obviously they're going to make a sequel. That's on pause because writer's strike.
Yes.
But it is now being reported that Nintendo and Universal are inking the final deals for Legend of Zelda. Hi-ya! So that brings up the most important question. Who are they going to get to voice act?
Who originally did him in the cartoon?
It doesn't matter. It's not going to be that guy.
Well, excuse. They got to work that in. Excuse me, princess. That's what we want.
I think they need to keep the Chris's up and go with Chris Pine.
Captain Kirk.
Yes.
He's going to get confused. I'm a bard. Link is a bard now. I come up with the plans.
My original thought, because it's totally the opposite of what you would ever expect, is obviously Ving Rhames. Get that real deep voice rolling in there.
You know what? It would be worth it. It'd be fun.
It would be hilarious. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think that's really a surprise. Of all of the big Nintendos, that's the most obvious one to take next. Personally, I would have probably preferred Metroid, but that's just because I'm kind of a sci-fi buff, and I don't actually think they're going to do Metroid because the others make more sense. Diablo 4 released, and is doing the exact opposite of Diablo 3. It has great buzz. It's hugely successful, hugely popular. Blizzard's reporting it is their fastest selling game of all time.
We've seen questions in our Discord about Diablo 4. And when you're finally going to play it, Tony, as a Diablo fan yourself.
I know, and I'm in debate. And it'll probably be next weekend.
Okay. So it's a short debate.
It's a pretty short debate.
So Bobby can put you down for 2.
So I've talked to enough people who've played it that have been really enjoying it that I think I'll probably pull the trigger on it. It's just going to be, I don't want to pick up a new game with everything I have going on this week because it's just going to be one more thing. Because I mean, we have stuff multiple evenings this week that we're doing. And then between my work stuff and in addition to all the stuff that we're doing on the evenings, I have multiple things on pretty much almost every evening. I have something scheduled.
Yeah. And
so it's just not even worth doing it.
The listeners up because they have no idea. Tony and I, a friend of ours that was a roommate of ours back in college, is coming back in town. So we're going to go out and have dinner with him sometime this week. And then we also have, for my wristwatch YouTube, I have a game on that on a different day. And Tony is going to participate on that. So I got that. And then you've got other stuff on the other days. It's just, this is a bad week.
This week,
picking up a new game.
This week is like really, because I was thinking about grabbing it and I'm looking at everything. It's like, I would basically get to play that game like today. And then not get to touch it again for a week.
If Golem drops another $29, I'm getting it.
If it drops another $29, they're going to be paying you to play it.
No, it would be $1 then. I mentioned that to Don from Pinball Podcast, and he's like, "Don't waste your I think he said life is too short for you to play such a bad game." And I'm like, I didn't respond to that. I was just like, at $1, no, it's not. At $1, I'm gonna be going for my precious.
You're gonna be going for your precious. Well, I mean, I'll jump ahead here in my notes a little bit. They're already laying groundworks. This is from Summer Gamefest.
Yes.
So
lots of announcements.
But we'll jump this announcement up a little bit to match with it. Lord of the Rings Return to Moria, because that's what we need is a Lord of the Rings game where you play, where it's a building like Minecraft.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was a Minecraft or if it was like doing an RTS thing and it was base building in Moria as.
Yeah, it was hard to tell. It looked like it could go either way, or if it was almost like Dungeon Keeper type.
Okay, yeah,
type.
You know,
they didn't show
some
much
of those
gameplay.
Formats would be. It actually, I don't hate the idea. The graphics were rough. I was like, this looks really janky for a modern game with such a big license. But
it's because they probably made quick passes to get rid of the emo. They probably all the dwarves were probably had one thing of hair over their eyes greased down and dark pencil and everything.
So is that the same company?
I don't know.
I hope not.
I don't think so. I don't think they were working on 2 projects at the exact same time like that.
That Golem is so bad. Come, make it $1 so I can play it. Come on. You want
$1.
I at $1 I will make it fun. I will make it fun for me. I can do it.
So
I will it.
I'll will
it to be good.
$1 play Golem drinking game. Every time something cringe happens, you have to drink.
You know what? I had a lot of fun making fun of all the bugs I encountered in Cyberpunk. I joined their subreddit. I uploaded videos. I put together all my glitches, and I was like, "This is fun." I mean, I'm sad about how much I paid, but at $1, that sadness goes away.
Was Cyberpunk the last time you paid full price for a AAA game?
I think so. I so rarely buy a game right when it comes out, though.
Right.
It's very
well, and that's why
the last one before it was, which was also super disappointing, was Battlefield 2042. Yeah, because I love playing. At least I used to love playing Battlefield games. But
yeah, that's why I held off on Diablo, because I remember what Diablo 3 was when it launched.
Yeah, well,
Diablo 3 turned out to be okay.
Supposedly, though, with 4, good.
That's what I hear. 4's good. More Summer Gamefest. There was a ton of announcements. I'm only highlighting.
I watched a lot of these trailers. I went and I missed most of the actual live stream, so I went back and just caught the trailers of the ones I thought looked cool.
Yeah. So if I missed one that you thought looked cool, throw it in
Your
here.
list looks pretty comprehensive, but the listeners don't know yet what's on your list.
We'll see. Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
The Prince of Persia games are super popular. I've never really gotten into them, but I know they're super popular and people like them.
I played one on the 360, and it was, I think it was more three-dimensional than, like, this was very Metroidvania.
Yeah.
But it had those mechanics, like, you had to go around and pick up items to be able to get past certain spots. So, yeah. I mean, if you like a Metroidvania, maybe it's one to check out.
Right. And I'm not a huge Metroidvania person. Not anymore. Path of Exile 2. Path of Exile was the free-to-play game that everyone went to when Diablo 3 was trash. It went over very well. I enjoyed it. I played it some. So the second one coming out, yep, timing's going to be interesting just after Diablo 4. So Mortal Kombat 1 I only put it in here. I don't actually care about the Mortal Kombat. It's just we're back to having this thing where you're restarting worlds. I know this is like a prequel
kind of
story
that, or
thing.
It's a world reset. Like the timeline. I don't know, because I'd seen this before Summer Gamefest. I watched a trailer on it, and I wasn't really clear if it's a alternate timeline, a true reboot, or if they're saying in their canon, kind of Marvel DC style, that the timeline is being reset. And like they've incorporated it into the plot. I guess if you're into Mortal Kombat plots, then okay. But
there you go. Yeah.
Lots of fatalities, though.
Lots and lots of fatalities. Lies of P, which is a steampunk Pinocchio kind of action combat game.
I didn't see this one.
The art's really good, but it didn't show much. It was definitely not a, hey, here's a minute of gameplay type thing. It was very much a trailer just showing different things, and only a little bit of it looked like gameplay. But it definitely has a very interesting aesthetic to it. Space Marine 2 this winter, 3-player co-op.
I played the first Space Marine.
I love the Space Marine game. It was great. So I'm very interested in the new one. And with co-op, it could be really fun.
Hiya.
Hiya.
For the Blood God.
The Emperor protects. John Carpenter's Toxic Commando.
Now, I hated the name of this because all I could think of was the Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, I can see that. When I first saw the name, I'm like, are you kidding me? The trailer actually looked fun.
Yeah, it looked like a John Carpenter movie.
It very much
Low
did.
Budget.
It is supposed to be like an
humor.
80s style, bad humor,
Probably
action.
lots of teak and mahogany jokes.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely looks interesting, but it's basically zombie apocalypse, and it's 4-player co-op.
And you're road tripping it.
Road tripping it. So there's lots of there was lots of videos in the trailer of like one person's driving the car and mowing down zombies, and somebody else is sitting beside them in the passenger seat shooting zombies off the hood.
Yes.
So it could be fun.
It could be.
I like the co-op idea. There's been a lot of co-op games lately. Like a Dragon Gaiden. The Like a Dragon games have been...
Yeah, it was like the Yakuza style.
Very, very popular. So
I hadn't historically played those, but then I played 2 of them since. I played the RPG style one, and then I played one that's in the more traditional where it's an action fighting game. And the stories are pretty good. Those both took place in the same Kamurocho city, so the layouts were basically the same city. But yeah, actually, I've been impressed by them. They take a while to get through if you want to do everything in them. But
yeah, and this one the trailer looked really good.
Yeah, I guess this is the most popular character from those series, so I imagine fans, like longtime fans, are probably more excited than I am.
It'd be real easy to be a longtime fan of that series because there's a lot of them.
Yes, there are.
Under the Waves. It looks like a more realistic horror take on like Subnautica.
I couldn't get a feel for this. When I was watching it, that was probably be how I would describe it as well, but I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to be afraid. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Right.
So I didn't have a context of, I think it's supernatural, but maybe it's just underwater, like what lurks in the deep sort of stuff. Or maybe the guy's going crazy. I think
they did a very good job of making a trailer that piqued your interest without telling you everything.
But it didn't make me want to buy it.
No, but it made you interested enough that when they drop something else later, you'll take a look at it. Space Trash Scavenger. This is such a me game. It's just like walking around cleaning up space trash and then putting it in and then like building a base and then clean up more space trash. Very much a me style game. Star Trek Infinite looks to be a 4X Star Trek game that's being published by Paradox. Every single thing I've seen is pretty much people making jokes that they must have hired some of the Star Trek modders for Stellaris. It just said, here, the Star Trek mods for Stellaris are the most popular mods. Just make a Star Trek game. So we'll see how that goes. Stellaris is one of those games that is hugely popular and has tons of DLC, and I've got like the base game, and I've played a little bit, but I've not got nearly as deep into it as that game would require you to do. Lifanga Time Shift Warrior, Liz Fanga Time Shift Warrior. It's Hades, except for like you can rewind time and generate like echoes of yourself, so you fight with like more of yourself. It looked really interesting. If it could hope to be anything near as good as Hades, it'd probably be an amazing game. We'll just have to see. It's not made by the Hades people, obviously. They're working on Hades too, but it's that type of view and gameplay from the looks of it. And finally, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming. It's going to be 2 discs, and it's a PS5 exclusive. As
all the Final Fantasies seem to be.
Right.
I was confused when I saw this because I didn't understand that they've changed the story.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I was like, why is this a sequel? Like, why are they talking about it's been 5 years? Like, Cloud didn't take a 5-year break in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, apparently in the 7 remakes, they have been changing the story and the timeline.
Okay.
So, and supposedly they worked very hard to make it so that if you've not played the one before this, you could pick this one up and play it with no problem.
Okay. Well, there were a few other games because I see that's the end of your list. There was a Sonic game.
Yeah, that they did announce a Sonic game.
A 2D style Sonic. So if you like the old traditional, like or in Green Hills and going along and getting rings, though they did give them new power-ups. So I saw that. That looked okay if you like that format. There was one, I can't remember the name of it. I want to call it Hell's Gate, but that might not be right, where it looked kind of like you were a old-timey vampire hunter. Like they had him shooting
It's Witch Hunter.
Witch Hunter, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that one yet either, if I would find that fun or not. And then, of course, they had this was already announced, so I'm not surprised it's not on your list, but this summer, that game, you brought it up already before, the one where it's the FPS with magic.
Yeah.
They had an extended
look at
kind
it.
of a set of pieced together, like vertical slice almost of one of the combat sections.
Yeah. I didn't throw that one in here
because it wasn't new.
It wasn't new. It wasn't
but they did give it some good airtime.
So we'll see how that goes, how all these games turn out. So, but moving on, Twitch oopsied again.
Yes. Oh, again, some of my other Discords where there are pinball streamers. This became for a hot minute was the topic du jour.
Oh, I am sure, because they basically they just made some decisions to make changes to their rules, and they made them in a vacuum.
Why are they so bad at their
I don't know. And they even have an ambassador system where they have people that they normally run stuff by, and they didn't use it this time. For those who are wondering, what they did is they released rules that changed their branding guidelines that put severe rules on streamers about what they could do with sponsors. The changes included limiting on-stream logos to less than 3% of screen size, not allowing pre-recorded advertisements of any kind. And they changed how those rules were going to apply. They were going to apply even to like charity streams. So for case in point, we just watched Summer Games Done Quick.
Yep.
And it would have been a huge hit to Summer Games Done Quick because there's lots of pre-recorded stuff on Summer Games Done Quick, and there's lots of overlays that are bigger than 3%. And yeah, it was definitely not well taken by the community.
Yeah, the 3% thing was what, unsurprisingly, is what triggered a lot of pinball streamers because, well, one, given the real estate of how they have to lay things out, they often do have fairly large logos of sponsors. And in fact, one of the Chuck Wirt is his name. He organizes one of the pinball shows, one of the conventions that happens. One of the things he sells is sponsor logos on the live stream of the tournament.
Right.
And it's like, well, they would be a clear violation. I mean, you have to shrink them so small. What, 3%? What, you're going to even be able to read it?
Oh, definitely not.
I saw examples of the 3%. And I was like, this is like a joke.
Yeah, it is like tiny.
So anyway, continue.
The backlash was pretty hard. Hard enough that they canceled and withdrew all of those changes while they have discussions to make them better. They did also put out an apology where they tried to make an excuse that, this didn't change anything. It was just poorly worded, talking about
I saw that one.
The no pre-recorded stuff. They're trying to explain that they're just trying to get rid of third-party advertisers. They didn't mean you couldn't pre-record stuff for your personal sponsors. They meant something else. So you couldn't hire like a third-party advertising group to run their own ads.
Why didn't they say it then? You know what has to happen?
Because they wanted it to go through.
This is what has to happen now. They have to make the OGL public domain. Yeah, this is the damage. This is the only hope now.
It's their only
We've
hope.
seen this. We've seen this. This is what this feels like. Is Hasbro?
It does feel like that. I don't know what is up with all of this because Hasbro did that. Twitch has been they've been fighting the 50-50 pay split and everything else for a while now.
So what's going on with that? Because I see you have a notation.
No, I just that was just a note that with their way their current pay splits are set up, sponsorships are the primary way the people who work there actually make money because they don't get nearly as much money from Twitch as they do from their sponsors.
Right.
So
and that's
just
pretty
destroying
common
their branding is hard.
Right. And lots of like that's common. And even though the splits are far more generous, like the money one raises through AdSense on YouTube, for example, if you're doing YouTube professionally, it's not a secret at all, though. Everyone will tell you. The secret, though, is you get sponsors because the sponsors are where you get most of the money.
Right.
You need so many views it depends on what your niche is and stuff in terms of what your average rate of return is on ads. And YouTube does a good ad split, but it's still, most people it's great if you're not trying to make a living, but if you're trying to make a living, unless you're super, and even everyone who's super huge has sponsors. Like Mr. Beast is just sitting there counting his ad revenue. It's like he's got sponsor money that probably eclipses it.
Oh, I'm sure. Twitch also made changes to their terms of service, making it against the rules. Wow, how did that autocorrect to toe so many times in the notes? Against the rules to simulcast on other Twitch-like services for all users. But what was weird was how they wrote it.
Right. Now, that's always been the case for affiliates,
right? For affiliates and partners have not been able to simulcast without pre-existing permission.
Correct. And with the Pinball Network, we were doing some pinball on our Twitch channel in 2022. We did some streaming, and we deliberately did not get affiliate status so that it could be simulcast to Facebook and YouTube at the same time.
Right. And a lot of people have done that, or if they had it prior, they revoked their affiliate status to be able to simulcast. Well, they've now stretched this to everything. Interestingly enough, because of how they wrote it, you can still simulcast to TikTok.
Really?
Yes.
Just them?
Just TikTok.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's weird.
Yeah. I don't know why. They don't specifically name TikTok, but the way they worded it, TikTok doesn't fall into the places where you're not allowed to.
I wonder, there must be something about the environment, or they have an arrangement with them.
I figure it's either one of those, or they just didn't think about it, as they obviously haven't thought about other rule changes they've done in.
Well, yeah, but again, I would be like, why don't you just say there's no third-party streaming?
Period.
Stop there. You're done.
Yeah.
You don't want to list them all.
Unless you get prior permission.
What if someone makes farce book? It's okay to simulcast a farce book.
You can work to the work face. You can simulcast to the work face.
Yes.
And obviously, like, some of their big people have permission to simulcast.
Oh, what? Critical Role?
Critical Role does. Of course, it's their biggest cash cow. If they lost Critical Role, they might as well just shut the doors. But because they simulcast on YouTube.
YouTube, yeah.
The only rules are while they can simulcast the stream, the videos can't be available on YouTube for 1 week, and there's no chat on YouTube. So the chat is only available on Twitch, which is fine. That's why I watch it on YouTube, because Twitch chat is bad.
It's annoying.
Paradox has decided to offer refunds to those who had pre-ordered Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline 2, because it's been more than 3 years since they started taking pre-order money, and they have no date for the game.
Oh.
They did say that the game is coming, but there have been major changes made from the game that was offered when they opened pre-orders.
It's mummies now.
It's all mummies all the way down. It's really weird, but it really made the graphics easier.
Yes.
But they are mandatorily refunding all physical pre-orders, including for the collector's editions. And digital pre-orders, they are leaving it as they're giving it as an option. You can choose to refund your digital pre-order or not.
Okay.
Microsoft-Activision, nothing new on the U.S. Side of it, but they did set a date for the appeals. It's going to be late July, and they're talking about 6 days is what they're talking about having the appeal meetings run up to. And if the appeal is granted, all that does is move it back to the CMA to be
right. The appeal score won't solve it. It would be to kick it back and say, you must now evaluate on these things.
Correct. So,
which is common in U.S. courts too.
Microsoft President Brad Smith has a meeting this upcoming week with UK Chancellor Jeremy Hunt to discuss the issue.
Of Space Hunt fame?
Of Space Hunt fame. But they're Space Hunt. But they're going to be talking about this and the CMA and all sorts of interesting things, I'm sure. Microsoft is talking about going forward and just ignoring the CMA's ruling. And they're discussing fully pulling Activision out of the UK.
Yeah, it's such a big acquisition. It might be worth it.
Yeah, I mean, the UK is such a small player base. Because you're not even talking about the full population of the UK. You're just talking about the UK player base. That it makes no sense to halt something for the entire world over the UK. So but that's definitely the scorched earth tactic. Would be pulling Activision, just pulling Activision out completely. Jumping back to a thing we've talked about a long time ago, Nintendo no longer employs Yasha Hadaji. That was the head of the Russian operations, the guy who started a company and was kind of third-party sideloading new releases into Russia with the ban on new games to Russia. He no longer works for Nintendo because he was the head of Nintendo's Russian operations. At the same time they made that announcement, the side company that he was the head of as well, has been announced as Nintendo's provider of customer support in Russia. So he no longer officially works for Nintendo, but his company is now the sole provider of Nintendo support in Russia. So they skirted that ban.
Yep. That's how oligarchs are made.
Yeah. And now, for another way, the way oligarchs aren't made, yet another follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
Yuji Naka,
Sonic,
co-creator
gotta
of
go
Sonic,
fast.
has to go fast.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that was perfect. That was good. He is going fast to jail. His insider trading stuff where he got arrested twice for insider trading. He pled guilty, and his sentence has been handed down. 2.5 years in jail and a fine of about $1.2 million equivalent. It's in yen, obviously, but but in the course of it, the prosecutor said he pled guilty and he showed no signs of remorse. It was just one of those, you caught me. Oh, well.
Isn't that like refreshingly honest, though?
I mean, I guess it's like, oh, no, I did nothing wrong. This is fine.
Everybody does it.
Everybody does it. It's fine.
You're not my dad, prosecutor. Here's your 1.2 million. Have fun.
Did you do insider trading? Yep. You want me in that boardroom.
You need me in that boardroom.
This isn't going to trade itself. These games are going to design themselves. You don't go fast.
Did you order the market limit sale?
You're Sonic right, I did. Oh. So there we go.
You think he'll make the the ring explodey sound when he gives the money out? Just a bling, bling, bling.
So I mean, I don't know. The fact he's just like, yeah, I did it. It's like, yep, nope, I did it. Cool. It's like, okay, good.
It's just fascinating to me how fast this all really resolved.
Yeah, because this became a thing in like December is when he was arrested for the first time, and then it's done and in jail. I mean, it's like 6 months to do this whole thing. So that's how justice is supposed to work.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
When it rains from above,
ding 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 ding,
like tails flying over. Go get you out, boss.
What do you get?
Just stays in jail. What are you trying to do? I'm jailbreaking.
I wonder if his roommate.
He's got one flaw: complete honesty in all things.
His roommate's gonna walk in and just go, "I'm Knuckles." All right, everybody.
Nani? we're mixing our Japanese references too
we
much.
get stuff mixed up.
Okay.
What was it? Was it the Sonic cartoon where they decided Sonic loved chili dogs? So
speaking of love, this doesn't really have to do with the video game. That has to do with you. I'm worried that you have fallen down the Swole AI rabbit hole.
Oh, I can't help it. They're so good.
Tony keeps,
they're so good.
Dear trusted listener. Okay. Tony, we were at a pinball tournament about 3 weeks ago, and he shows me a video of Harry Potter because the announcement of Harry Potter had come out.
It was Harry Squatter.
It was Harry, but it was Harry Squatter, the boy who lifted.
Yeah.
And so it's just AI has generated like all these Harry Potter characters and just roided them out, super swole muscles, all that. And then last night, I'm sitting in my recliner. I'm watching Monuments Men.
Well,
yeah. Not a bodybuilding movie.
Definitely not.
And I get this message from Tony, and it's this video. Someone has put together Luke, but it's not Skywalker. It's I can't. What was his name?
It was like Skylifter.
Luke Skylifter. And there was Darth Vader, because I guess whey protein shakes. I thought that was a bit of a stretch. And then Yoda was Broda.
That was great.
And that one was the best one. And they're just like, they're just saying still like, I've got, if you only knew the power of the dark squat. And Vader is just like, his suit isn't a suit, it's muscles. He's ripped. He's ripped to the power of the dark side. Yoda is just looking like this old bodybuilder, totally swole.
Yoda reminded me of what's his name? He was J. Jonah Jameson.
Okay. Oh, yeah. From Whiplash fame and all that stuff. I'm not remembering the actor's name right now. But.
Yeah. But the guy who played J. Jonah Jameson in the old Spider-Mans was he was in a movie with Chris Pratt, and he played Chris Pratt's dad, except for he was like a retired merc, and he was ripped, and because the actor's actually ripped because he works out
he lifts.
He lifts. And he's actually, that's what I thought when I first saw Broda. That's what I thought. That I had that kind of, because like the whole big beard and everything, and then just,
this is a throwback. For anyone who's ever seen a number of Japanese anime, it reminded me of that one Bleach, the number one Soul Society guy, the old guy in charge of all of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because you had the big beard also, and he's always just sitting there, and he's got his little cane until he has to fight, and then it's like, what drugs do you do, Broda? So anyway, Tony has a problem.
I've also sent the Lord of the Rings, some of the Lord of the Rings ones, and there's so many. They're so good. They make me laugh every time.
It's a problem. But what isn't a problem is reaching out to us. You can always email us, eclecticgamerspodcast@gmail.com. As I noted at the start of the episode, you can support us at patreon.com/eclecticgamerspodcast. And we are also on facebook.com/eclecticgamerspodcast.
We're available on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram as eclectic_gamers.
And that's it for us for this episode. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Maybe there will be some more news. I don't know.
Hopefully something will happen in the pinball world.
Yeah.
It's always a little slow after TPF and everything, but normally there'd be like a big release around this time, and it's just not.
But with Stern not doing the 3 cornerstones, I think we're going to have I think September is when they're scheduled to drop their next game, so we've got a bit of a wait. So unless one of the other companies that has talked up doing more than one game a year wants to get a head start pre-Expo, which I'm skeptical of, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I have heard Godfather sales are not doing well, like not doing as well as Toy Story 4, which didn't do well.
No,
yeah,
I'm so surprised.
So maybe JJP accelerates the timeline. Just a hypothetical.
But they've got the time turner now, so they can. Oh, that lets them take time back and do multiple things.
Yes,
maybe they can design multiple games
just like
at the same time.
Game. They could design a version of Godfather where they're all swole. The cat is ripped. Marlon Brando's cat is just like meow, brow, brow, brow. All right. Until next time, my name is Dennis.
I'm Tony.
Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.